Good morning, dear children. Today we are going to discuss about gold leaf electroscope. Do you know what is the use of an electroscope? In the last class we have discussed about the charging of a neutral body, isn't it? We have discussed two different methods in order to charge a body. Which were they? Method of conduction and method of induction, isn't it? Now, here, an electroscope is a device which is used to find whether the given object is charged or not. If it is charged, which charge does it possess? That is positive or negative. So, is it clear? Electroscope is a device which is used to detect the presence of charge on a body and also to detect whether it is positively charged or negatively charged. Now, first we will be considering the structure of a gold leaf electroscope. An electroscope actually consists of a glass vessel. Okay, it consists of a glass vessel with an insulating cork. It consists of a glass vessel with an insulating cork. Then, this is the cork. Now, through this, a metal rod is inserted. Okay. Normally, brass rod will be there. So, a metal rod is inserted. And at the ends of the metal rod, two gold leaves are there. These are two metal strips. Gold strips are there and it is known as the leaves. Okay. Actually, two metal strips. Now, since these two strips are made up of gold, we are calling it as a gold leaf electroscope. Then, this I told you, it is a metal, and above this a knob will be there. A metal knob will be there, and this entire thing is placed on an insulating material. So, this is the structure of a gold leaf electroscope. A gold leaf electroscope consists of a glass vessel, then with an insulating cork. Now, a metal rod is passed through it, and on the bottom part of the metal rod, two metal strips are there, and in few cases these strips are made up of gold. Then we will call it as gold leaf electroscope. Then on the other end or on the top, we are having a metal knob. So this is the structure of an electroscope, and it is used in order to detect the presence of charges or to find whether it is positive or negative in charge. Okay. Now, when you want to use it in order to detect the presence of charges, the first thing is this electroscope itself has to be charged. At first, electroscope will be uncharged. No charge will be there for the electroscope. So, before using this, we have to charge this electroscope. Okay. And this electroscope can be charged either by the method of conduction or by the method of induction. We are going to discuss only about the method of conduction. Okay. Electroscope, at first it is neutral, no charge is there. If we want to use it, first thing is we have to charge it. We can charge the electroscope either by the method of conduction or by the method of induction. We are going to discuss only about the method of conduction. And do you remember what is conduction? If a body has to be charged positive, what should you do in the case of conduction? Bring a positively charged body in contact with the neutral body, isn't it? So, if you want to get a positively charged body by conduction, bring a positively charged body in contact with the neutral body. And if you want to get a negatively charged body, bring a negatively charged body in contact with the neutral body, isn't it? That is what we learned in the case of conduction. So, here I want to make this a negatively charged electroscope. Okay. I am going to make this electroscope a negatively charged one. So what should I do? Bring a negatively charged body. So I am bringing a negatively charged body, and bring it closer. Okay, bring it in contact with the node. Take a negatively charged body. I want to make this body a negatively charged one. Okay, I want to make this electroscope a negatively charged one. So a negatively charged body is brought in contact with the knob of the electroscope. So what happens here? Here it is a neutral body. These electrons, excess electrons from the negatively charged body will enter through this. This is a good conductor, isn't it? Metal knob and metal conductor. Metal rod as well as the metal knob. So both are good conductors. So these electrons will enter through this, and what happens? It reaches the gold leaf. Then these two leaves will get negative charge. And when it gets negative charge, what happens? Like charges repel and unlike charges attracts each other. Both the leaves will be getting negative charges, so again it will diverge. Divergence means moving apart. It will diverge a small part. Okay, a little bit divergence will be shown by the leaves. Now, when you remove this, the electroscope is a negatively charged one. If you want to make it a positively charged one, what should you do? Bring a positively charged body in contact with the knob. So what happens? Positive charges can't enter. The negative charges in this will move out into this, isn't it? So what happens? The two leaves will become positively charged. So since both the leaves are acquiring the same charge, already it is placed like this. A small divergence will be there once it gets charged. So I have made it. We will consider the first case. We have made this electroscope a negatively charged one. So both these leaves are negatively charged. Now the next thing is, how can you detect whether the given object is charged one? If charged, whether it is positive or negative. So we will check how to identify that. Okay. So I have a body with me and I don't know whether it is charged or uncharged. So first thing is, if you want to check that, bring the body closer to the knob. Okay, bring the body closer to the knob. Then look into the leaves. If you see that the leaves are moving apart again, that means if it is if divergence is shown again, then what will be the charge of this body? This is already negatively charged. We have made this electroscope into a negatively charged one. So both these leaves are having what charge? Negative charge. And after keeping an object here, if the leaves diverge more means what? Repel again. So if it repels, it means this body is a negatively charged one. The reason is, like charges always repel and unlike charges attracts each other. So since it is negatively charged, when a negatively charged body is brought closer to a body, what happens? These electrons will repel the other electrons, isn't it? So the electrons will move apart. And what about the positive charges here? Positive charges will be here, electrons will move down. So here, if both the bodies are having negative charge, that means if both the leaves are having the negative charge, means they diverge more. If the two leaves comes closer, that means, or the divergence decreases, that means this body is positively charged. If it is positively charged, then this will be, these two leaves will come closer. Okay. Then, if no change is there in the leaf, that means the body is uncharged. Okay, so is it clear? So once again, first we have charged the electroscope negative. Then, when an object is placed closer to the knob, if the leaves shows divergence again, if the leaves move apart again, that means it is a negatively charged body. The reason is these negative charges will repel the negative charges present here. So those negative charges will reach here and more divergence will be shown. If the leaves are coming closer means here it will be a positively charged body. So what happens? If it is a positively charged body, electrons will be attracted by it and the protons or the positive charges will be repelled. Then if no change is there, that means the body is an uncharged one. So is it clear? Actually, you have to consider the gold leaf electroscope and its construction. Then you have to understand how to check whether the object is charged or uncharged, or whether it is positively charged or negatively charged. Now the next part given in your textbook is the static electricity in the atmosphere. Actually, we have to consider only about the lightning conductor. But if I say just about lightning conductor, you won't understand what happens or what is the reason for lightning. So first we will start with lightning and then I'll tell you about the lightning conductor. Okay, do you know how this lightning is produced? So we are having clouds, isn't it? And inside the clouds there are many water droplets. So these water droplets will collide with each other. Okay, so I'm considering a cloud, and in this there are many water droplets. These water droplets will collide with each other. When it collides, what happens is charge separation takes place inside the cloud. That is, positive charges will move to one side. Actually, positive charges won't move, but these are the things what we say in order to explain a concept. Okay, so positive charges gets accumulated on one side and negative charges gets accumulated on the other side. Usually what happens is positive charges will be there everywhere. The electrons, only the electrons are able to move. The electrons will come to the bottom. Okay, so due to the collision of the water droplets inside the cloud, charge separation takes place inside the cloud. Normally these electrons are free to move. Electrons will come to the bottom part and these clouds will be moving through the atmosphere, isn't it? So when it is moving, in the bottom it is negatively charged and here we have the ground. And here also we are having positive and negative charges. Like charges always repel and unlike charges always attract each other. So these negative charges will repel the negative charges present on the ground. Okay, the negative charges on the cloud repels the negative charges present on the ground. So what happens? What will be present here? On the surface it will be, this is the ground. Okay, so here it will be positive charges. There is a strong force of attraction between negative and positive charges. So what happens? These electrons will flow from the cloud to the ground, and this is lightning. This can be considered as lightning between a cloud and ground. Okay, lightning between cloud and ground. Once again, water droplets present inside the cloud collides with each other and as a result charge separation takes place inside the cloud. In the bottom portion we will be having negative charges and in the top we will be having positive charges. Okay. Then when the clouds move through the atmosphere, what happens? It repels the negative charges present on the surface of the earth and we will be having positive charges at the top. And there is an attraction between the negative and positive charges. So these electrons from the cloud flows to the ground and this causes lightning between a cloud and the ground. And again we are having lightning within a cloud. In certain cases within a cloud there will be movement of, that is, many collisions will be there and due to the accumulation of charges there can be lightning within a cloud. And sometimes there can be lightning between two clouds. Have you seen lightning in the sky itself? Few lightning you can see coming to the ground and few you can see in the sky itself. So that will be the lightning within a cloud or lightning between two clouds. Same process will take place between two clouds or within a cloud. So there are three types. Lightning within a cloud, that is, this charge transfer takes place inside a cloud itself. Then lightning between a cloud and another cloud. electrons can flow from between two clouds, and also electrons can flow from cloud to ground. So these are the three types what we can see related to lightning. So is it clear how lightning occurs? Now, what about the thunder? How is thunder caused? When this charge transfer or discharge of charges takes place, it produces large amount of heat and sound. Okay, at the time of lightning, at the time of transfer of charges, large amount of heat and sound are produced, and this heat makes the air around it to expand. So when it expands, it expands as well as vibrates, and the sound is heard at the time of expansion and vibration of the air. When charge transfer takes place at the time of lightning, large amount of energy is released in the form of heat and sound. This heat makes the air surrounding it to expand and vibrate, and that is heard in the form of thunder. So is it clear about lightning and thunder? Now we will check what is the use of a lightning conductor. So if a charged cloud moves above us, then it will be having negative charges in the bottom, and there is a chance that if we have a building or a person standing here, there is a chance to get lightning, isn't it? We'll be getting electric shock. Large amount of energy is there in lightning, isn't it? So how can we protect our buildings? We are having huge flats and all. So how can we protect our buildings from the lightning? For that we are using a lightning conductor. Okay, a lightning conductor is used in order to protect huge buildings from lightning. Lightning conductor. Okay, so have you seen a lightning conductor? It is placed at the top of a building. So actually it consists of a small metal strip with many spikes on it. A small metal strip made up of copper with many spikes on it, and it is placed at the top of a building, and from this a wire, copper wire, will be connected to here. This is the ground. Okay, and anyway the cloud won't come this much closer. Here a copper plate will be buried under the earth's surface. A copper plate will be buried under the earth's surface. So a copper wire will connect this copper plate with the lightning conductor. This is the arrangement. Okay, so a lightning conductor consists of a copper strip with spikes above that, and it is connected to a copper plate buried under the earth's surface through a copper wire. Now we will check what happens at the time of lightning. Okay, so I keep my lightning conductor here because our cloud is closer. Okay, so here I have the lightning conductor. When this cloud moves above a building, think that this is placed above a flat. Okay, then when this cloud moves above this, what happens? It creates positive charges. Negative charges of this will be repelled, and positive charges will be formed on the top. So when this cloud comes closer, negative and positive, naturally the electrons will jump to this spike. So directly if it jump to the building, the entire building gets what? Gets damaged, because huge amount of power is coming, isn't it? So if we have the lightning conductor, these electrons won't directly enter into the building. It will be attracted by this copper strips. Electricity or electrons always seeks an simplest path to reach the ground. So here we have copper, which is a good conductor. So these electrons will jump into this, and then it will be taken to the ground through this copper wire, thereby protecting our building from damage. This is the use of what? A lightning conductor. So is it clear? A lightning conductor is used in order to protect the buildings from lightning. So it actually consists of a metal strip with spikes, metal spikes over it, and it is connected to a copper plate buried under the earth's surface through a copper wire. When a charged cloud moves above this, the negative charges present in the lightning conductor will be repelled by these negative charges, and positive charges will be there at the top, and these negative charges of the cloud jumps into this, and flow of electrons is electric current, isn't it? And these electrons will flow through the copper wire into the earth, thereby protecting our building. So is it okay about lightning conductor? Now the next one, the last topic is about the cells and the battery. So do you know what is the use of a cell or a battery? A cell or a battery actually gives DC current. DC, that is direct current. Okay. From the electricity board, we are getting alternating current or AC. The cell or a battery will provide us direct current. Then here actually chemical energy gets converted to electrical energy. Here in the case of a cell or a battery, we are having electrodes dipped in an electrolyte. I think you have learned in chemistry about this. So chemical reaction takes place and chemical energy gets converted into electrical energy in the case of a cell or a battery. And a cell or a battery will provide only less power. It can be used only to operate small devices. Okay. Or not for the bigger ones. Only for a torch or a small electrical appliances we can use a cell or a battery. Then one more thing. This represents the symbol for a cell. This is the positive terminal. This is the negative terminal. Bigger one is positive, smaller one is negative. Then conducting wires. It should be connected to some other equipment using the wire. And if more than one cell is there, here I have connected 3 cells together. This makes a battery. If 2 cells, then also we will call it as a battery. So more than one cell gives you a battery. So only this much you have to remember about cells and battery. So is it clear? Cell or a battery provides direct current. Then it converts chemical energy into electrical energy. It can be used only to operate small electrical appliances. Then what? This is the symbol for a cell. More than one cell will give you a battery. Okay. So you can write lecture notes from this portion, and actually in your syllabus you have to learn only about gold leaf electroscope. Page number, you can take your textbook, take page number 127, gold leaf electroscope. Then just have a look on charging an electroscope by conduction. It is not mentioned in the syllabus, but since we are studying about electroscope, you should know how it works. That is why I explained that. Charging an electroscope by induction, no need. Okay, don't consider that. Identifying the nature of charge, that also you just read it, and I have explained that how we can detect the presence of charge in a body. Then about static electricity in the atmosphere, lightning from a cloud to the ground, heat and sound produced during lightning. Those things I have explained, but in our syllabus it is mentioned only about lightning conductor. Without saying about lightning, I cannot say about lightning conductor. So just go through that portion. Safety measures, no need to consider. Okay, no need of considering safety measures. Lightning conductor is important. Then with the cells and battery, you have to consider only this. Dangers of electricity, no need. Okay, now moving to the homework questions, you can take page number 133. Page number 133. Short answer questions, question number 7. Short answer questions, question number 7. Then long answer questions, question number 5 and 6. Okay. So I have given only 3 questions. Short answer questions, question number 7. long answer questions, question number 5 and question number 6. Now we'll be discussing give reasons. Okay, give reasons. I'll tell you the answers. You can mark it and then you can write it in your notebook. So give reasons. First question, earthing is done with electrical appliance. Answer is given in page number 117. You can take page number 117. In that last paragraph, 6th line. Did you see? Page number 117, second side, last paragraph, 6th line. Earthing is done to reduce the risk of electric shock caused by leaking of electric current into the metal parts of electrical devices. It prevents damage to electrical appliances and devices by preventing excessive current from running through the circuit. So that is the answer. Now, second question, give reason. Second question, fuse is connected in an electric circuit. You can take page number 118. Fuse, first paragraph. If you want, you can write it in your own words, but those points should be there. It is a safety device. It blows off when excess current flows through it, thereby protecting the electrical appliances. Page number 118, you can see the heading fuse in that first paragraph. Then, question number 6. Give reasons. Question number 6. In charging a neutral object by induction, the side nearer to the positively charged object acquires negative charge. What is the reason for it? Like charges repel and unlike charges attracts each other. That is the answer. Like charges repel and unlike charges attracts each other. Now question number 7. The rod and knob of an electroscope are made up of metal. Why? For the flow of charges. It is made up of metal because metals are good conductors of electricity. You can write the answer like this. Metals are good conductors of electricity. Then question number 8. The lower end of the lightning conductor is connected to a metal plate which is buried deep inside the earth with the help of a conducting wire. You can take page number 130. Page number 130. In that, just above that questions, that box, the negative charge of the cloud will get discharged through the lightning conductor to the ground instead of passing through the building. Thus, it helps to prevent damage to tall buildings from the harmful effects of lightning. Last two sentences. Okay, the negative charge of the cloud, starting from that. So, is it clear? So, give reasons. I discussed 1, 2. That is question number 1, 2, 6, 7 and 8 plus 3 other homework questions. So, write these question answers in your notebook and study this portion. Okay. So, with this we completed the chapters. Thank you, children.